All right, we're in Conquest's famous Chapter 10 now. Here I am going through my units I'm going to use, showing off all the tonics and meal boosts and stats in general. The experience distribution on this is a little bit wonky. This save file is from a challenge run I've been working on where the rule is you have to raise everyone, so you have to level everyone to 20 and promote them. You must get this done by the end of Chapter 20. You have to recruit every unit, and so you have to distribute experience fairly equitably. The elephant in the room here is I'm using Mozu in Villager. He's not good in this class. Everything that Mozu does on this chapter would be done much more easily, even by Archer Mozu at level 1. And when she stays in Villager, she desperately needs to get all the way to D rank for Javelin access, which is quite a bit of work, although it can be done in her join chapter if you spend enough time. You're probably better off if you're just using Haitaka and Mozu spot instead. He just has better stats. That said, there is only one friend of Effie who gives her a flying mount with lances. Anyhow, we're getting set up for the chapter here. The way chapter 10 is laid out is there are basically 4 main lanes that the enemies come down. There's this one in the northeast where you've got the Master Steel house right near the beginning, and then it's mostly archers who come down that side with a couple of spear fighters in the first round. In the southeast, there's the Draco Shield house guarded by a horde of Oni savages and Obero, who has a few kind of scary skills. In the southwest, we have Hinata and his ninja and spear fighter friends. They are guarding the house with the dual club. And in the western pier, there's a whole bunch of Oni savages once again. The house in the northwest has 10,000 gold. A bunch of Sky Knights spawn from the bottom edge of the map over and over again. Many of them will just ignore your units and beeline straight for the gold tiles on the north end of the map. And of course there's Takumi the boss in the southwest corner. He doesn't move, he's sitting on a dragon vein. Eventually, he will trigger that dragon vein to drain the water and allow all the enemies to cross the bay freely. Now, I think when most people are figuring out this map, they take it at face value. You've got this big square right at the beginning, got several siege weapons, got some walls to hide behind, and people just try to hold these choke points and kill the enemies as they come. I think it's much better to think outside the box, as it were, and push all your units out to the edges and kill the enemies at their spawn points. The first move in that is to dump Corrin over here in the southeast. He is in range of 2 Oni savages and a ninja. One of the Oni savages has lunge, and we don't want Corrin to get lunge, so he has to one-round the Oni savages, which he can do with his Dragonstone. I'm setting up Effie and Arthur here, so Effie will kill the spear fighters in the southwest. And this is by far my favorite move that you can do with Wyvern Elise. I think it's great. I love dumping the Nosferatu tank right on top of the Oni savages on turn 1. So Effie can one-round the spear fighters with Arthur's dual strike. In the meantime, Corrin gets weakened and then hit a couple times. It's actually good for us, although really unfortunately, Corrin crits these Oni savages not once but twice, which does nothing for us except steal some experience and support points from Silas. Oh well. Odin doesn't one-round either of these Oni savages, but that's okay. In fact, he doesn't one-round anyone in this entire map, but he's still awesome. Now that Corrin's at low HP, he could be as low as 5 if all the enemy attacks had hit. He has activated Silas's Vow of Friendship skill, giving +3 damage dealt and -3 damage taken to Silas at all times. So we're going to move Corrin out of the way here in just a second. And Silas is going to equip his Bronze Lance for extra accuracy. Now there's a very slight optimization here. I want Niles to go down and use Silas's dual strike to kill that ninja, but I also want Azura in the northeast, and Azura can go up there, sing for Niles, and then send him right back down to get where he needed to go anyway. So she gets some extra experience out of it. And Silas, make sure he has his Bronze Lance equipped and drops Corrin to the left. Obro is normally pretty tough. She's got her Nor Enmity skill, she does extra damage, she seals defense and strength. But between Vow of Friendship and Corrin's supportive skill, Silas is rocking a really strong damage stack for this early in the game, and he makes Obro into kind of a chump. Now, Mozu's going to be relying on these dual strikes from Effie a lot in this chapter. If she were an archer and she had a forged bronze bow, this would go a lot smoother. She would have weapon triangle advantage pretty often, and she wouldn't be sitting on these like mid 80% hit rates all the time. But she's not, and we got to deal with it. The reason why in my challenge run I've not decided to make Mozu an archer already is because I wanted to pay for a lot of class changing shenanigans much later in the game, and to do that I kind of needed to send Mozu through the merchant line. So she stays a villager for a while. Camilla and her retainers arrive on this turn. I use Silas's sword to kill Obro. That way he has weapon triangle advantage against the fighters and won't take so much damage from them. Or the Oni Savages, I should say. Nyx takes up this spot at the edge of one Oni Savage's range. If the AI were smart, it could kill her by setting up someone in dual strike position, an attack stance, and then moving this unmarked Oni Savage over to hit her. But the AI will never give up a direct attack for the sake of just putting a unit in attack stance. And since those other two Oni Savages can attack Silas, Nyx is perfectly safe. Elise carries Odin way down the west side here. There are two spear fighters. One of them has sealed defense and one of them doesn't. So Elise can get some free chip in by hitting the one that doesn't have sealed defense. This also affects the AI's behavior. Since that spear fighter is weakened, he will change what would normally be his target next turn. Now this is a really neat move to handle the right side with just Camilla and her retainers. You pair Selena with Camilla and then park Selena on top of the ballista, and what that does is it prevents the archers from using the ballista against you, and also Selena is perfectly capable of tanking the archers for one turn while Baruka hits up the northern house. Those ninjas in the southwest could have attacked Arthur and killed him eventually, but they both see that Arthur will kill them on his counterattack, so even though suicide tactics would get the kill, the AI does not understand that, and therefore doesn't attack Arthur with the ninjas. And the one spear fighter who was already wounded attacked Elise instead of Effie, who was the other target he could hit, because Effie now shows lethal damage to him, but Elise can't kill with her counterattack, so the AI will try to keep its unit alive and not attack the unit who can kill it in return. This is one of about 3 somewhat dicey hits I have to go for here. Nyx using her fire to kill a Sky Knight without the benefit of Heartseeker. And the other 2 coming up are also from mages who wish they could use Heartseeker. I'm going to get Odin down to Takumi, but he's only at 2 range, so this would be a 92% if he were adjacent. Takumi has quick draw in addition to his generally high attack, so you have to be pretty careful and make sure you're at your thresholds and keep that in mind. Luckily, even though there's a Steel Defense Spear Fighter here, he doesn't go before Takumi. In fact, I believe he attacks Odin third. So that really helps Odin out. Here I'm cleaning up this southwestern wave with a sequence of dual strikes. And if Effie had hit her strength growth there, then I would be able to use Effie's Brass Naginata for the dual strike here. But she didn't, so I can't, so her attack stance support is a little bit shaky on the accuracy. Now the Amazon Brigade in the northeast cleans out these archers. I brought a Forged Thunder for Camilla. You can also bring a Magic Tonic, and I used that in the previous turn, so that this Camilla's kill on the archer is guaranteed, even if Baruka misses her dual strike. So this is perfectly safe, even though Camilla takes a lot of damage. She's going to get Selena support, and Baruka re-equips Camilla with her axe, so the spear, she has way more defense than Camilla does. So the spear fighters attack Baruka instead of Camilla. And Camilla also happens to be in Azura's healing aura range, so she'll get a slight heal. That'll patch her up more than enough for the rest of the map. Now both spear fighters in the northeast attack Baruka and die, thanks to Camilla's dual strike. The reason I didn't attack Takumi last turn and instead waited for enemy phase is because if you attack Takumi first, he will use his elixir, and I want to steal it. And I want him to attack me on this turn instead of being at full health, so that now I can move Odin south to west just barely, and once again I have to take this attack at 2 range. I realized later in this in reviewing this that I think there is a setup where you can afford to move Odin adjacent to Takumi on his right side and still get my units everywhere I want them to be later on in the map. But I didn't do that, so I had to suffer through a few consecutive 70-something% chances, which are really low 80s with the way the hit formula in Fates actually works. Silas picks up the Draco Shield in the southeast, so we've hit 2 of the houses at this point. And this is a neat move, I think. I pull Selena from the right and dump her. And now if Selena had actually been hit by any of those archers when she was tanking on top of the ballista, she can heal herself with her vulnerary. If she gets hit by both, she has to, but she dodged them both, so good for her, I guess. Arthur visits the southwestern house in a moment and picks up the dual club for himself, while Effie and Mozu prepare to take on the paired Sky Knights who are coming up the middle now. And Nyx heals herself so she can tank a hit from a Sky Knight herself. Now, most of the enemies in the southwest attack Odin and get themselves killed. He is tanking that like a champion. And so part of the reason why it's nice to have a Nosferatu tank with lots of skill and luck is that he can do that job even in the face of a whole bunch of enemies who have a weapon triangle advantage against them. So all those spear fighters are guaranteed to hit him, and he has about 90% hit rate on them. 90% listed, I think it's like 88% listed. So that's north of 95% actually. So he can do that in a way that even like a totally defense stacked Nyx can't. We switch to Elise here so she can A, get some kills herself, and B, fly Odin straight back into the action with all these Oni Savages up north. Meanwhile, Niall sets up so he can one round with the one Oni Savage who has a throwing club. And Selena and Baruka can actually take on all of these archers by themselves. With the benefit of Azura, they can do it faster. Corrin and Nyx are now going to take on the center Sky Knight, while Effie and Mozu take on the next pair. Because of what I want to do on the next turn, I need Effie to have the Javelin, and we need Effie to be in this spot. So she's going to have to use the Javelin herself, and Mozu's going to kill the second Sky Knight from melee range. After some, I was deliberating on changing weapons here for a second. So I do end up switching Elise back to her Bronze Axe, and then Odin picks up one more kill. Meanwhile, Odin and Elise are walling off Mozu and Effie, so they're not in danger at all. Nyx drops Corrin in range of the center Sky Knight. He can, even though he's at real low HP, once again, he has more than enough defense to tank those really weak Sky Knight attacks. Here I'm fiddling with weapons, because if Silas uses his lance here, and Camilla's using a tome, then the savages will preferentially attack Silas instead of Camilla, which is good because Silas gets more experience out of the deal. And Azura uses attacks with herself using Selisa's dual strike because using Selena's dual strike because she might as well, and then Selena picks up the next kill. I intentionally don't set up to kill that Oni Savage who attacked Silas because I can feed that kill to Baruka instead. This is the final wave of enemy reinforcements. Azura right here is just barely out of range of the archers who just came in, so I can pick up this spot, and then I want Baruka to kill one of these Sky Knights. To do that, I'm first going to kill the lead one with Silas, and then Camilla's going to weaken the second one with Silas's dual strike. Baruka flies down. He has Camilla's personal skill working for her in case there were a bunch of misses from Camilla and Silas. And she kills the second Sky Knight and grows to level 10 and learns Lunge. Lunge is actually really critical on the next turn. So Nyx picks up this kill with fire. And I run Corrin to the west a little bit later. In the meantime, Effie has just barely enough strength with the javelin to kill the lead Sky Knight. So once again, if you had level 1 Archer Mozu with a forged bronze bow, she could easily kill all these enemies, and you wouldn't have to go through these. You have to rely on these annoying attack stance setups. But I guess this is also evidence that Villager Mozu can work if you spend like 20 turns getting her all the way to D rank and her paralog and feed her a bunch of levels that could otherwise go to other units. Since Odin and Elise have full guard gauge, I can just go ahead and weaken this ninja, no problem. I'm pretty sure Odin would survive anyway if he got debuffed, so it doesn't actually matter that much, but it's convenient. Some of these Oni savages have lunge, so Odin eventually gets pulled out of the way, leaving Arthur exposed to one enemy. And that's why he needed to use the hand axe last turn as opposed to like a more accurate weapon, because the throwing club guy is the one who comes through. Silas does the same dance with the other Sky Knight pair, and then Effie and Baruka is going to pick up this kill as well. Lunge is important because it gets Baruka one extra tile movement that she needs for setup for the final turns. We need to get her to fly all the way back to the north. If you're feeling adventurous, you can go for this kill with Yato and maybe get Arthur's dual strike. But if he misses, you're swinging at that 50%, 46% chance of death. So good luck to you. You can get the Dragonstone kill without the extra XP for Arthur. No problem. So once again, if Effie had hit her strength growth, I would be able to just get this kill with Brass Naginata and it would be easy, but she didn't. So I gotta go for the 74% with the Javelin. And now Mozu takes the Javelin and gets the kill. Odin gets his last kill of the map, right here, and that is just barely enough to get him all the way to level 13 from where I started. So he's well ahead of the experience curve at this point. And if you just keep using him, he'll stay that way. In the challenge run that this is that this save is from, I barely use him, actually, until after Chapter 13. Because he's still good enough at that point, and I have to spend time raising everyone else. But if you just keep using him, he's good in the at least the southwest room in Chapter 12, Chapter 11, sorry. In Chapter 12, he can take on a whole bunch of apothecaries and gain some levels that way. In Chapter 13, you can fly him across the river and just have him NOS tank everything. So if you want to, you can more or less solo that map. And then after Chapter 13, you've got all your second shop goodies for him to work with. Silas and Camilla here are going to get these last 2 kills on the enemy phase. In the meantime, we have to fly Baruka back up right back up to the northern ballista tile, and we'll see that in a second. I also have to drop Elise off here so she can finally visit the northwestern house. The movement I'm doing here to get this last kill is a little bit silly. Nyx puts her Heartseeker on the ninja, and then what I'm doing here is trying to get Mozu that tiny bit extra XP, which you can, if you feel like that's worth it to you. It was worth it to me because I'm raising a bad unit. So she gets the dual strike for Niles, and then she gets the kill herself. So Baruka has to get to this tile exactly so she can fly down and still be able to attack this archer here. Because of the way the AI moves, they won't switch the lead there or anything, so the wounded archer will still be the one in front, which is important next turn. Camilla and Silas clear out the last 2 Oni Savages. Now there are just 3 archers left on the map. First order of business is we have to remember to get the last village for our 10,000 gold. And then no one else here is doing anything. Camilla flies Silas back over the wall, and she kills the final archer. If Silas hits some speed growths, then he can get this kill instead. But my Silas is not fast enough, and I didn't boost his speed with a tonic, so Camilla gets the kill instead. You could get this kill with either Selena or Baruka, but Selena's kill is guaranteed, so that's my preference. And finally, after Azura sings, Selena gets the final kill on the map. Here we are, that's all of Chapter 10. There are 0 enemies, just 13 members of Corrin's army, and once I hit end turn, the map is over. I developed this strategy for this map, again, when I was working on that challenge run, so there's a lot of emphasis on getting particular support points, which gives you this cool screen where like almost everyone in the army has at least 1 and several of them have 2 support ranks to unlock after that map.